Well, keep going. I think that's what's going to make it.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm just removing the security screws on the casework here. These are in place to not only provide security for the artifacts and the journal inside, but also as a way of tightening down the case so that it has an airtight seal. And that helps to mitigate against any potential intrusion of insects or pests or mold spores, as well as helping to stabilize the environment inside in terms of so that moisture doesn't get inside the case and cause potential damage. The collection pieces inside here, there are 2 total, and they were both donated by the same donor, Hugh McCaffrey, who is the current executive director of HistoryLink.org. Her father, Hugh McCaffrey, was a pilot for the Foss Company, and used both the sextant and also the marine logbook to record his experiences on Foss Maritime vessels, roughly the 1940 to 1947 time period. The museum was fortunate to be able to acquire both of these pieces because we do have very few things that are from the Foss Company on exhibition or in the permanent collection. So it was really a great addition for our permanent collection. The other items we do have are, of course, the model of the Martha Foss, which was a tug used by the company, and also the advertising stack band, which is on loan from the Foss Maritime Seaport.
So we're going to take it to the
And here we have the journal. This will be undergoing conservation with Caroline Veenstra over the next month, and will be a great project to see it stabilized and then returned on display. So here we're just adding some temporary exhibit label signage here to let people know that it has been temporarily removed for display in the journal. And also we're going to be adding future signage here with a QR code that has the videos to the conservation work as it's been done. We're taking the journal down to the Cultural Resource Center here at the Nordic Museum, where Caroline will do a preliminary review of it before taking it on to her studio.
Yeah.
Mind taking a look at it now?
And so I'm not doing gloves because I already washed my hands.
Oh, very good. Okay. Sure.
And I'm gonna have my DNA on this one way or the other.
Absolutely.
But I might just grab this and put it on the table. Okay. So I've already met with Fred to give him a preliminary estimate of what the work would entail, and the goal is to do as little as possible to stabilize the book. So the first thing that I'll be doing is I'll be removing this masking tape that was attached in order to keep the boards together. The book is actually structurally in pretty good shape. The front board is loose, but the inside of the book is holding together. This first section is loose, so you can see the sewing thread here is loose, and but the rest of the pages are holding pretty well. Older books were folded into sections, and they were sewn through the fold. So here's an example of a section that is intact, in good condition, and still holding strong. Okay, and so this first this first section, let's see, I'll go to the middle of the section. So it has some tears and some missing areas on the first few pages, and then right here you can see where the sewing thread is broken. So what I'll be doing is I'll be removing this first section, and I will be repairing this tear here and this tear down here, and I'll be filling in these areas that are missing paper with some Japanese paper. And then once this this section is repaired, I'll re-sew it to the book, to the rest of the text block, and let's see how I can't remember how the back is doing. Oh yeah, so I'll have to refer to my notes, but I believe that Fred and I discussed, this was an old repair, and I'm pretty sure, decided to leave this repair as is because it's part of the book's history. Then on the outside, once this tape is removed, this section will be free floating, and what we'll do is that when I finish repairing this first section, I'm going to have a hinge, Japanese paper hinge, that will attach to here. And oh look, here's some of the, I didn't even see this the last time. These are the pieces that go in here, so I'll just reattach these to that. Here's another old repair. There's some sewing here, or some staples. And again, this detail I might have to discuss here with Fred to see if they want these staples in there. The staples are rusty, and it's not a good idea to leave those in the book. So
that you have the books and that you'll return them. I just set the return date for the first of the year. I'm not sure when. But yeah, so there are the terms on the back, and they have the descriptions of the two pieces that you have. And if that all looks right.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I've already read these, so I know what they are. I do all my paper repair with Japanese papers, handmade Japanese papers, which are called washi. That's the Japanese word for handmade paper, and paste. And the reason I do it that way is that it's reversible, unlike most tapes and adhesives, and they come in a wide variety of thicknesses, and you'll see some of them are so transparent that you can see you'll see the writing through the through the thin paper, although I usually put the thin paper on the back so it's less obtrusive. And papers come in all different tones, and I try to match it to the color of the paper. So I'm going to be removing this, mending the loose pages, resewing the first section, reattach board to text block with the hinge. And then the other thing we decided is that we weren't going to do anything to the front cover, so we're not going to fill in any missing areas here. I'll readhere these loose pieces. The new attachment will be the hinge that's on the inside, which will be sewn in. So it'll be like this, it'll be like this repair on the back, only it won't be quite as bright. But yeah, these old repairs are, it's part of the history, and it's funny because my natural tendency is, well, maybe I'll trim that repair, but no, I won't, because it's, that's part of the history of the book. Repairing a book, I always compare it to remodeling a house. And you think you're going to do one thing, and then you get into it and you find that something else is rotten, and you have to fix that. So it's possible that when I get into this repair, that the proposed treatment, which is to add a hinge to attach that front board, might not be strong enough. So if I feel that that's not strong enough, then I'll check in with Fred and see if we can add something to the outside too. At this point, our goal is to keep it looking as much as possible, but just to remove the unsightly masking tape. I went over the our proposed treatment.
Okay.
And I don't remember seeing those staples. Did you want those removed? They are rusty. Actually, these pieces right here, which are stapled, go here. So I will be removing these to reattach them to that first section.
Okay. Is there a detriment to leaving them in place?
Just because they're rusty.
They're rusty.
Yeah. Kind of mentioned that it was mildewy, smelling, and so when I get it to my shop today, I'll put it in a tray with plexiglass and some zeolite and see if the zeolite will absorb some of that mildew smell.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's all sounds good. As to the question about the staples, let's go ahead and have them removed.
Okay. I don't think they're really doing anything there.
No.
And you'll see the holes, so you'll know they'll have been there.
There is a potential argument that they were part of the artifact in terms of how the journal was used, but given the counter argument about the preservation and that they could be damaging to the piece if left in, let's go ahead and take them out. They do look old, they don't look recent, so if you could
Save them?
Sure.
Sure.
We'll go ahead and keep them with the notes as far as the original condition.
Sure.
As part of the documentation of the journal's history.
Yeah. Okay.
So really, we're just wrapping this now to prepare it for transport as a temporary protective measure. All the materials I'm using are acid-free, as well as the cushioning material. It'll ride in this, for an outer shell protection, will ride in this acid-free box along with the other journal that we're going to go pull.
I think we'll travel well there.
And then we'll wrap the other one if we go right on top. So here we're going into our archives room. We have about 16,000 items that we would describe under the classification of archives, including photographs, prints, negatives, films, and also ephemera, and things, special editions like the Bin Journal, which was produced as a Danish language publication in California, San Francisco, in 1884. And so we're, to kind of balance our preservation scope of this project, we selected one piece that's on exhibition, the Foss Journal, along with another piece, this Bin Journal, that is not on display, but does need conservation. So we're going to be getting that here from our archives. And I know you've already looked at this, but here it is again. And I'm not going to open it up, but it's got this handmade cover.
Marble paper.
Marble paper. And so this will be the other piece that's undergoing some repair. So thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
Let's see. So the proposed treatment on this is to take the sections apart, remove the old sewing, to guard all the folds and mend tears with the Japanese papers and paste, resew the book, and repair the text block spine. So on this book, so this is marbled paper, and this is some kind of cloth spine, maybe linen, I'm not sure, maybe probably cotton, and it's been painted. So what I'll do is I'll remove this and clean it up a little bit, you know, get the wrinkles out of it, and then so here we are. The sewing, as on the other book, the sewing is pulling apart. So this one, we're going to take the whole thing apart and re-sew it. And most of the sections are okay, but they'll need some reinforcement here and here. And there's some pages at the back that I remember have some larger tears. Let's see. One here.
That's pretty.
So this is this one. This one will be needing some repair. So this is most of the work on this one will be paper repair, and then it'll get resewn and it will be reattached to the covers, and we'll use the same fabric. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to reinforce this fabric and reuse it. So we'll be using all the original materials.
Good.
Also, in places where the marbled paper is loose, I'll be repasting that down. That's it.
The only other thing I would add about this is that in our permanent collection, we do have a number of items that the provenance or the donor origin of the item is unknown or uncertain, and that's true in this case. However, even though we don't know who donated this to the museum, it is in fact a very historical document that we want to preserve and use for future reference and as part of our special collections archives.
And this will also have hinges, like on the, as I described on the Foss journal, where the Japanese paper hinge will help reattach the text block to the covers. So, okay.
Okay, great. Tricky to do with gloves on. I don't know if they'll both fit in there. Yeah.
I have really good spatial,
Yeah, you do.
spatial vision.
Great, okay. All right, there we are.
I'm waiting.
Here we are, all secure, ready for transport.